play and just start reading.
Let's let her rip.
Jalahara Bandha, page 352 of Yoga Hatha Pradipika. Contracting the throat by bringing the chin to the chest is the bandha called Jalahara. It destroys old age and death. That is Jalahara Bandha, which catches the flow of nectar in the throat. It destroys all throat ailments. Jal is throat. Jalam is water. Dara means supporting or a tubular vessel in the body. Jalahara Bandha is the throat lock, which helps prevent the fluid of Bindu from flowing further down than Vishuddhi. Vishuddhi is the throat chakra. Although it is easy to perform Jalahara, Jalahara is a very important practice. Technique. Sit comfortably in Siddhasana, Siddhi Asana, Padmasana, Sukhasana, or Vajrasanasana. Place the palms of the hands on the knees and allow the whole body to relax. Inhale slowly and deeply and retain the breath. Lower the chin so that it touches the chest, or more specifically, the collarbone. Simultaneously straighten the elbows and raise the shoulders. Hold for as long as is comfortable. Then release Jalahara by slowly raising the head and relaxing the shoulders. Exhale in a very slow and controlled manner. Practice 5 rounds, breathing normally for a minute or 2 between each round. Then practice 5 rounds with external retention. Jalahara can be done in the same standing position as used for Uddiyana Bandha or Nali Karma. However, it is usually practiced in conjunction with pranayama and other major kriyas involving breath retention. Initially, it can be done separately until you become accustomed to it. As it is such an easy practice, this will not take long. Jalahara Bandha is extremely useful for alleviating throat disorders such as inflammation, stuttering, excess mucus in the throat, tonsillitis, etc. It also improves the quality of the voice and increases the quantum of prana in the thoracic region. Because Jalahara has a powerful effect on the blood pressure, people with high blood pressure or heart disease should not practice without the guidance of a teacher. Many major nerve fibers pass through the neck. When Jalahara is performed, it exerts pressure on them, and the flow of nervous impulses to the brain is restricted. These impulses collect in the cervical plexus, and when the bandha is released, they flood into the brain. The force of these impulses helps to activate higher centers in the brain. Having done Jalahara Bandha by contracting the throat, the nectar does not fall into the gastric fire and the prana is not agitated. When the hormonal secretions of the pituitary flow through the bloodstream of the various endocrine glands, flow through the blood to the various endocrine glands, the life process associated with these centers is set into motion. These processes of metabolism, the response to stress, instinctual life, endured and experienced throughout a lifetime, cause the body to become degenerate, exhausted, and decrepit. This is easy to understand. Just as a car or piece of machinery is worn out at a rate proportional to its mileage or intensity of usage, so too the human body obeys such natural laws of performance and decay. The experiences of life demand that heat be produced in the body. So the gastric fire is kindled by the consumption and combustion of fuel, and the pranas governing the different parts of the processes, for example, assimilation, digestion, excretion, and circulation, become agitated. This is the mechanism of experience of external reality mediated through the sensory and motor organs. It is also the medium leading inevitably to decay and death of the body. The throat region is intermediate between the brain and the digestive and assimilative processes. It is here that a brake or governor can be exerted upon the rate at which the bodily processes are activated. The thyroid gland secretes the hormone thyroxine, T4, which is responsible for the rate of tissue metabolism. An example, the rate of nutrient consumption and of cell turnover and tissue aging. This gland is situated precisely here in front of the neck where the yogis visualize the pool of nectar. By applying Jalahara Bandha, this fleshy gland is squeezed. The nerve stimuli and blood flow to and from the gland are modified, and the secretory responses of the gland are modulated. The parathyroid glands, which regulate calcium metabolism and control the density of the body by regulating the amount of calcium in the blood and bones, are situated on either side of the thyroid gland. They are also influenced. Many of our chronic and complex diseases seen in later life occurred due to the inherent imbalances between production and consumption of hormones in the body over many decades. Jalahara Bandha is a means to consciously influence the rate of metabolism. The influence of thyroxine pervades the body tissues right down to the microscopic level, where it activates the enzymatic and oxidative processes of the cells. This is the meaning of the yogic concept of capturing the nectarine flow at the throat level, thereby moderating the rate of decay of the body's organ systems. Of course, the flow of nectar from the bindu cannot be entirely equated with the hormonal secretions from the pituitary gland, just as prana cannot be equated with nervous impulses. These terms refer also to the subtle processes taking place in the pranic, mental, and psychic bodies. Therefore, it should not be understood only on a physiological basis. However, by understanding the physiological concomitants of the psychic and pranic processes, a clearer insight is gained. You guys good? Should I keep reading? By firmly contracting the throat, the two nadis, Ida and Pingala, are paralyzed, and the 16 sadharas in the middle chakra are locked. And the 16 adharas of the middle chakra are locked. And there's this picture here. Let me share it. Oops. When Jalahara is performed, the flow of Shakti in Ida and Pingala is arrested and prevented from flowing between the head and the body. There is a subtle restructuring in the energy circuit, and the energy which has been flowing in Ida and Pingala is induced to flow through Sushumna. Thus, Ida and Pingala are described as becoming inert or paralyzed. Jalahara Bandha causes prana to collect in Vishuddhi chakra, the middle chakra between the physical body and the brain centers. Vishuddhi is described as a deep purple lotus, which has 16 petals called adaras, which means support or receptacle which contains a particular fluid. Each petal or adara has a specific potential power of force. The 8th petal is said to contain poison. The 16th, amrit, nectar. The potential force of each petal is represented by the bija mantras. I'm going to butcher all of these, so we see them listed here. Here, I can screen share it. So here are the 16 bija mantras.
So Pam,
yeah,
if you look at the bija mantras, look at them as pairs. It's like they go together. So there's and I also don't know the pronunciation. Im and Eem, and Om, Rim and Reem. Do you see what I'm talking about? That pattern?
Yeah.
That is so cool.
I see that, and her describing the 8th and 16th as one being poison and one being nectar. I'm almost wondering if
Nectar.
that one is, what if they're like a balance of each other?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So even her pointing this part out of I haven't studied the chakras to this level where remember when we learned that each chakra has its own. Oh, are you okay?
Yeah.
It's the throat chakra.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When we were learning about the chakras or briefly about the chakras and how each one had a symbol assigned to it, and it was like the sand vibrations
Yeah.
from the
Yes.
beat mantra of
Yeah.
that chakra. That was so interesting to me, but I'm not ready. I have one of the chakra books here to read, but it just makes me want to learn more about it, because even this level, that's really intense. Thinking about that, this, that's how much detail is going into these. And you could see in each petal, it has the symbol probably of the bija mantra. Why is it there?
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. We look at I'm not going to say I always look at the chakra things. I'm like, oh, they're so pretty, but there's so much meaning behind it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a pretty symbol. Everything's there for a reason.
Yeah.
And that's what I just want to see something on my chakra thing. That's what I'm learning more and more about yoga. It's see that symbol with the elephant, I've not seen. I mean, I'm not a chakra expert, but on mine, it has a different, it looks like it has the 16 petals, but and of course, what I've learned about chakra study is too, I believe different traditions follow different things, because I think we discussed this with the colors. We study it as Roy G. Biv, but I've seen, which is the rainbow, I've seen where people assign other colors to the chakra. And this is the thing I learned about yoga. You're going to learn something, you're going to unlearn something, then you're going to learn it again, and then you're going to unlearn it, and then you're going to learn it your way, and you're going to tie it, you're going to make your own opinion on it. Because there's not one way. Okay, so where was I? I was on the bija mantra.
You had just gone through the first paragraph on 357, and you showed us the bija mantras in the photo.
Okay.
So you were at these bija mantras relate to various bodily functions.
Thank you. These bija mantras relate to various bodily functions, mental and psychic, even subtler capacities. It is said that the realization through the first 15 letters is the dissolution of conscious, subconscious, and unconscious in Atma, i.e. Om. 16 petals or adharas are also found on the Sri Yantra and the Shakti, or potential forces, which are desire, intellect, ego, sound, touch, form, taste, smell, chitta, steadfastness, memory, attraction by speech, growth, the subtle body, revivification, and the gross body. These are also called the Adi Devatas of the Pancha Tattvas, Gyandriya and Karmadriya. Gyanadriya and Karmadriya are, I think, our 5 senses, and then I can't think of what the other word is called, but it's there's 5 things associated with it. Let me just look it up so I don't mess it up explaining it. It's definitely something we've went over. So karmendriyas are the organs that interact with the material world. The feet, so it's movement, The hands grasp and hold. The rectum eliminates. The genitals procreate, and the mouth speaks.
That's Carmandria.
Yeah. And I think the other one,
Janandria.
yeah, Guyana.
Jananandria.
Yeah, they're like our ears, our eyes, our nose, our tongue. They're the 5 lower sense organs. Our skin.
Okay.
In the Subhagadaya, the 16 petals are called nityas, i.e., they are the 15 days of the waxing moon. Kalas of the 15 tithis are Shukla Paksa, culminating in Purnima. I don't know, Purnima. That sentence was foreign. Let's see.
Yep. What is the Subhagodaya? Subhagodaya. Is that another text?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me look it up. This Purnima, I think, is just the day of the full moon. I don't know if it's just here. Oh, it's the word for full moon in Sanskrit, which makes sense because she first mentions the waxing moon.
That's Purnima.
Yeah.
Full moon. Okay.
So it's saying the Subhadaiva is a treatise which details briefly the daily worship of the goddess or Devi.
Okay.
Called Lalita.
So it is another.
Yeah, it's another.
Is it another text or another belief?
I think it's like another, like, I could.
Did you say it was a treatise?
Treatise, yeah.
Okay, so it's another text. So that's okay. So it's something else that we could read in our spare time.
Yeah. It says like Wikipedia or this wisdom library.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like another like tradition type of thing. It's like that's what we were just saying, like different traditions are gonna label the 16 petals something, like they're gonna have different beliefs, I think. The 16th petal, known as Adaya Shachidananda Rupini, is the form of the Supreme Self. These petals, as the phases of the waxing moon, denote ambrosia, life-giving, growth, contentment, nourishment, attachment, consistency, containing the man in the moon, light spreading, effulgent, moonlight, form, taste, smell, chitta, steadfast. Oh wait, I already read this. What am I doing here?
No, you didn't read that.
I know, I see, wait, moonlight. I hit the forward button, but it didn't go, so I started rereading the same page.
Oh, okay.
Light spreading, effulgent, moonlight, prosperity, delight, limb developing, fullness, and full of nectar. Vishuddhi is referred to as the middle chakra in this sloka because below Vishuddhi, the chakras are concerned with the 4 gross tattvas or mahabhutas, but above Vishuddhi, Shakti comes directly in contact with consciousness. Vishuddhi chakra contains the subtlest of the tattvas or elements, i.e., ether or akasha, the sound principle. Manipura is also called the middle chakra because it is midway between the earth, Muladhara, and sky, Vishuddhi. So they're saying between the root chakra and the crown chakra, Vishuddhi chakra, which is the throat, is the middle because the top part are
She said consciousness, I think.
They're in contact with consciousness, and the bottom 4, which is the root, sacral, navel, and heart are concerned with the elements. And no, are concerned with the grosser tattvas or mahabhutas. And then she's also saying that between the throat and the root, Manipura is the middle. So you have the throat, the heart, and then you have in the middle Manipura, and then you have the sacral and the root. Rather, I think I said that. Rather, Manipura is concerned with the intermediate realm between gross and subtle. Vishuddhi is the middle chakra between manifest Shakti in the form of tattvas and the unmanifest Shakti in the form of Mahat, consciousness. It is also via the voice box in the throat that thought is converted into audible sound. So this chakra draws the unmanifest Shakti into manifest form. Oh, I love that part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nice explanation. Very good explanation.
I'm trying to remember what tattvas is. I'm just looking.
I think it's like your basic functions or something. Oh, I'll tell you, this is learning another element, true or real state. This is like learning another language because it is learning another language.
It is, and it's learning another language where like one word means a whole principle. Like this tattvas thing.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like a whole, like it's their whole way of just like enveloping a whole idea into one word.
Yeah. It's concept than just a word meaning one thing. It's a whole conceptual.
Like it doesn't have a definition tied to it. It has a concept behind it.
Yeah.
But I felt like even though there was a little shaky points here, it's still for the throat. It's still like she says, it's still like an easy practice. Like I've told you, I try to practice it, but it's really just an idea of bringing my chin down to my chest while I'm inhaling breath and I'm retaining it. And I drop my chin to my chest, but I'm not doing anything with my tongue other than like lightly resting it behind my two front teeth. Remember there were some parts where she talked about the throat lock and it being like this idea of like the tongue coming up.
Yep.
But I don't do that. I just like, I retain my breath. I relax my face as much as I can because like we're always like so tense. I take a deep inhale. I relax my face and my jaw and I gently bring my chin down to my chest and I relax my shoulders. And the idea of bringing my chin down to my chest, it's a reminder for me to relax here and not be so tight.
Yeah.
But have like a control contraction here.
Yeah.
And relax my tongue. And it just, when I'm doing that, I like this idea of her thinking about like we're locking the root and we're locking the throat and we're containing the prana in the center so that we can guide from Ida and Pingala into Sushumna and making this really like it's like a blender of like amazing energy that I can carry with me and it'll store in my body so that when I'm ready to release, all that prana will go where it needs to go. But if I'm all tense up here, it's not going to work because like it's going to create tense energy. So I have to learn to relax there.
I remember when I was working with Mary Claire on Uddiyana Bandha, I was doing this way too tense. And she said, all you have to do is just, get your chin down to your chest, and relax your face. And that triggers, the throat lock. And it was much easier to do, and it was also very effective. So what you just said resonates very, very much.
Yeah.
The nectar and the poison are invisible here, but in the other one that you're putting your tongue up your nose, I think it's not invisible because they talked about the taste, didn't they?
I don't remember, but they probably did.
Mm-hmm.
But that was like an intense practice. And I think Amanda mentioned it happened to her, but it was like a very natural thing. It's not something we force. It'll just happen naturally one day, possibly. Um,
I'm practicing getting my tongue back to It's not that easy.
no, I don't even like I've never even heard of that other than reading this book. So, but it's nice to know about because if it did ever happen, I'd be like, what the heck is happening? It feels like I'm swallowing my tongue, but I would know it would be like, but I'm probably not there yet. And that's okay. I don't need my tongue to go
Up
anywhere.
your nose.
Yeah. I mean, I can stick out my tongue and stick my tongue up my nose externally. So if I want my tongue up my nose, I'll just do that.
Did you know how to do that before, or is it from practice?
No, it's just something like my body was born with.
Oh, wow. So you probably could make it go up the other way since it extends that much.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's good to have goals in life, Pam. It's good.
Yeah. And I don't think it's making my top 10 goal list or 20. Um, you know what? I think I'm gonna pause reading for today because I have an 8:30 call to join. So we can have a quick chat and then we'll start breath in a few minutes and meditate and then we can end like a minute early.
I'm glad you're stopping because I think verse 73 is worth reading again. And so gives me a few minutes at the very end to pick up the book and read it again. That was a good one,
Okay.
but it was complicated.
Yeah. All right. And then I'm not a huge fan of practicing that breath retention. And this isn't something you should do on your own at home either. But when you're practicing Jalahara, when you're completely empty, it's such a scary feeling. Like I like to practice breath retention when I'm full of air, not food or water. So I inhale and then I practice, but you can also do it when you're completely exhale and you're completely empty of air and you can drop your chin down too. It's something I get used to a little bit. Sometimes I'll have a teacher offer that out, but it's a little bit of a panicky, scary feeling that you have to train yourself to get used to. It's like a
But when
constant.
you retain breath after inhale, you have the inhale precedes that breath retention. So you have a feeling that you have your supply of oxygen. But then if you breathe out and retain again, it does cause a slightly panic feeling in the body because there is nothing there. There is no breath left. And you count for however long on that exhale retention, and then you breathe again. And it really, I practice doing that, and I find the inhale retention after inhale is much easier to master. But
Yeah.
it's and sometimes I don't even do the retention exhale. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not within my grasp that day.
But that idea, the playing with the throat lock and locking the root, it's for me, it was a really good, it's very good for me when I practice for controlling the breath. Like learning to release the breath very slow and long, and then taking a nice slow and controlled inhale and retaining. And then when I lift up my throat, I'm not like
Right.
like it's a very slow and controlled thing. It's inhale, hold, and then when you exhale, I lift up and I'm fully lifted. And then I slowly exhale.
Right.
It's not like and if your counts are really low to get that, I think that's better for you than like don't hold the breath for too long. That you're like you'll cause anxiety, maybe even damage inside doing that. All right, so let's do a few rounds of alternate nostril breathing. Just taking a moment to check in with the breath right in this moment. Just notice how you're breathing. Begin to manipulate it, breathing in longer, breathing out deeper. Then bring your right hand over to your nose. Close your right nostril with your right thumb. Inhale through your left. Close left, exhale right. Inhale right. Close right, exhale left. Continue on like that on your own breath and your own count. Adding retention if it feels right and it's in your practice. Taking as many more rounds as feels good for you this morning. When you're finished, you'll exhale out through the left nostril. You're gonna go ahead and set the timer now. You slide into your meditation when you're ready. Bringing hands together in front of your heart. Namaste.
Namaste.